chosen one. Heaven pauses everything for you now. The noise around you quiets, because eternity has entered your moment. You think you stumbled here by accident, but the truth is, you were summoned. A divine alert has been sent out in the spirit. 2 angels, radiant and fierce, have been dispatched to stand guard over your destiny. They carry orders written in light orders concerning you. The first carries the sword of mercy, glimmering with the fire of restoration. The second holds a scroll, your name, your prayers, your promises, all remembered by heaven. Even as you read these words, the unseen realm stirs. You can almost feel it, the holy vibration in the air, the stillness before a breakthrough. This is not ordinary. You are not ordinary. You are heaven's chosen interruption to the plans of darkness. You've been asking, God, why does it feel like I'm fighting alone? But you have never been alone. Every tear you've shed has been collected. Every cry has been heard. The silence you endured was not abandonment, it was strategy. Heaven was aligning help in the background while you were learning endurance in the foreground. What you thought was delay was actually divine timing, converging into this very moment. Look closely at your life, the patterns, the cycles, the near breakthroughs that slipped away. The angels have come to break that repetition. They come with divine authority to cancel what tried to cage your calling. The attacks that increased recently were not coincidence, they were confirmation. The enemy always fights hardest before divine intervention. But now the tables have turned, and heaven is responding with power. Can you sense it? Chosen one, the atmosphere around you isn't ordinary air, it's charged with purpose. The hand of God is rewriting your ending. The pain that tried to define you will become the proof of your anointing. You are not a mistake, not a misfit, not forgotten. You are the answer to someone's prayer, the vessel of a greater promise. That's why you couldn't quit when others did. Heaven refused to let you go. Every setback you faced was a seed buried, not a dream buried. What felt like loss was actually planting. The pressure you endured pressed oil from your spirit, oil that now carries healing for others. God hid you until the time of revealing, and that time has just arrived. You will soon see why the isolation was necessary. The angels that surround you tonight are witnesses of your becoming. Where others saw brokenness, heaven saw refinement. Your story is about to echo beyond your circle, touching those who thought hope was gone. You are heaven's evidence of mercy. The Spirit speaks through the ancient text and reminds you. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Hear this well. Fear has no legal right to remain in you. You have been walking with borrowed fear instead of inherited power. That ends now. The angels have come to tear fear away from your mind, to reawaken the authority you once carried with ease. You are not called to survive, you are chosen to reign. Every lie that told you otherwise is being exposed and dismantled as you receive this word. 17 minutes. That's the sacred countdown whispered in heaven concerning you. Not literal, but prophetic. It represents divine urgency, a window of mercy. You've delayed long enough. You've doubted long enough. The command is simple: respond. Respond with your yes. Respond with your surrender. Respond before delay hardens into disobedience. Chosen one, Don't let this holy moment pass. This is not entertainment. This is an encounter. When you feel that shiver down your spine, that's confirmation. Heaven has entered the room. The same God who spoke light into darkness is now speaking strength into your spirit. You are standing on the threshold of a divine rescue, and your obedience is the key that opens the door. If this message resonates in your spirit, don't keep it silent. Step into agreement, like, share, and subscribe as a prophetic act of faith. You are declaring before heaven, I receive this word. I choose alignment. Your digital action becomes a spiritual signature. This is not about the algorithm. This is about obedience and recognition that heaven's hand is moving in your story. The angels are already in motion. Your name has been spoken in the throne room. Mercy is moving toward you faster than you realize. The old cycle is ending. The countdown has begun. This is your call to rise. The silence that follows the angelic arrival is not emptiness. It is divine containment. You stand suspended between two realms, aware of breath, but surrounded by eternity. The air feels thick, as if time itself has slowed to allow heaven to draw closer. You feel it, the warmth of presence, the hush of holiness. This silence is sacred. It is where revelation begins. Chosen one. Heaven often speaks not in thunder, but in quiet. You were expecting a shout, a sign, a miracle written in the sky, but God came in stillness. The angels stand by, radiant yet silent, their wings folded in reverence. They do not move until you discern. They are not here to impress you, but to instruct you. The pause before movement is purposeful. It forces you to listen differently. There is a stillness that feels heavy, almost uncomfortable. But do not run from it. Within the silence, God is decoding your confusion. You've been bombarded by voices, opinions, doubts, fears, and heaven has silenced them, so you can finally hear truth again. The Spirit whispers, "Be still, so I can restore the rhythm of your heart." The angels wait for that recognition. The moment your soul yields and your chaos quiets, the atmosphere shifts slightly. A faint glow surrounds you. The angels move a fraction, like living pillars of fire breathing near. One looks toward you, not with pity, but with recognition. He knows you. He remembers your tears, your whispered surrender. His gaze pierces through your masks, through your doubts, straight into the part of you that never stopped believing. And then you realize something. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of direction. Heaven is not slow. It is strategic. What felt like delay was heaven's way of aligning the stage for revelation. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared to receive. The stillness you are standing in is the womb of transformation. Close your eyes. Chosen one, let the stillness sink in. Feel the unspoken communication, the way peace settles over fear, the way divine order rearranges what chaos distorted. Every breath becomes worship. Every second becomes holy ground. The angels stand watch because something is being written in your spirit, an instruction too sacred for noise. The Spirit of God speaks softly, but his words carry thunder in the unseen. The echo of eternity fills your inner being. You are safe here. I am not far. I am within. You begin to tremble, not from fear, but from awe. You sense that this stillness is an answer, the kind that reshapes how you listen forever. Your memories begin to surface the betrayals, the seasons where prayers returned unanswered, the moments you almost walked away. You now see how silence protected you. Had God answered too soon, you would have moved prematurely. Had He opened doors before maturity, blessing would have become burden. This is why the angels were sent to stand guard over divine timing until your spirit was ready to receive instruction without breaking under the weight of glory. A gentle wind moves through the stillness, as though heaven breathes through the veil. In that whisper, Scripture rises from memory, alive and glowing. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 46, verse 10. Be still, and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Those words land inside you like a key unlocking the unknown. You understand now, stillness is not passivity, it is power restrained. The command to be still is not a call to wait without motion, but to align your inner world with heaven's rhythm. In stillness, you receive strategies that rush cannot reveal. In stillness, you stop reacting and start perceiving. You inhale slowly, and with that breath, your vision clears. Every worry feels smaller, every distraction weaker. You realize that what you feared as delay was actually divine orchestration. Heaven's silence has been preparing the stage for a sound that will soon change everything around you. The angels remain motionless, yet their presence fills the room like invisible thunder. Their patience mirrors heaven's attitude, teaching you that divine timing never panics. You are learning to match heaven's tempo, to move when God moves, to rest when He rests. This is the quiet before the command, the stillness before the sending. Soon, instruction will come. But for now, the call is simple. Remain in the silence long enough to hear the next word. Let peace anchor you deeper than fear ever reached. The silence isn't punishment, it's protection. It is God sheltering you from premature movement, giving you the calm needed before the calling accelerates. This stillness is not empty space, it's the cradle of destiny. Wait here, beloved, chosen one, for heaven is preparing to speak your next command. The silence begins to tremble. You feel it. The stillness that once felt safe now vibrates with approaching revelation. Heaven does not leave you in pause forever. Once you have learned to listen, the voice of destiny begins to speak again. The air around you thickens. The unseen angels shift positions, and your spirit senses that something is about to be spoken into your life that changes everything. Chosen one. The first sound that breaks divine silence is not thunder, it is truth. The whisper of God pierces deeper than any storm. You hear it. Faint, yet undeniable. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared for this hour. The angel's presence amplifies those words, and your heart catches fire. The feeling is not emotional hype, it is divine confirmation. This is the moment where understanding meets awakening. Heaven begins to replay scenes from your lifetimes, when betrayal cut deep, when friends disappeared, when promises felt broken. But now, the Spirit reveals, none of it was wasted. Every rejection repositioned you. Every closed door redirected you toward destiny. One of the angels speaks. Its voice sounds like wind through fire. Soft but strong. You must remember the message. You realize this isn't a random visitation, it's a rescue. The angels are reminding you of what you forgot, that your life is not falling apart, it's falling into place. What you called loss was actually rearrangement. The light intensifies, and you feel your knees weaken. The angel steps closer, touching your shoulder lightly, and a stream of clarity enters your spirit. You see how the battles of your past were not proof of abandonment, but evidence of value. The enemy only fights what threatens him. The stronger the warfare, the greater the calling. You weren't cursed. You were chosen for confrontation. And then, like a rushing river, the word of God begins to echo inside you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Oh, those words ignite your identity. You remember who you are. You are not dimmed, you are hidden for unveiling. The world's rejection could not bury your brightness, it only preserved it for revelation. The angels nod as the truth settles deep within you. The Spirit whispers again, "It is time for the light to rise." You feel your atmosphere change once more. The room feels smaller, but your soul feels larger. Every shadow seems to retreat, not because darkness grew weaker, but because your awareness of the light grew stronger. The power of this revelation begins to overflow. You can sense purpose pushing against the walls of hesitation. And now, heaven prompts you to act. This moment demands agreement, not a shout, not an elaborate prayer, just a declaration of response. Heaven asks for your yes, your acknowledgement that you have heard and received. Type these words below as a prophetic act. I hear you. Write it not as a comment for the world, but as a signature before heaven. When you write it, you are saying, I am no longer deaf to destiny. I acknowledge that heaven has spoken, and I respond. That simple statement, I hear you, creates a spiritual echo. It becomes your agreement with the divine message delivered to your soul. Chosen one. This is not superstition. It's alignment. Every time you confess obedience aloud, heaven moves resources into motion. Angels respond to agreement. You are declaring that you are no longer living by confusion, but by calling. You are no longer defined by what was lost, but by what is being restored. The angel's voice deepens. Your obedience unlocks the next instruction. You realize that the key to divine movement isn't information, it's response. You don't need to know every detail before you obey. Faith doesn't wait for clarity, it creates it. Each step you take opens more light for the next one. You remember how fear once paralyzed you. Fear of missing it. Fear of failure. Fear of looking foolish. But now you see how fear was the language of bondage, while faith is the sound of freedom. When you say, I hear you, you are silencing fear's argument and amplifying heaven's decree. The angels begin to glow brighter, their wings spreading like golden fire. You can feel their energy pulsing, not around you, but through you. Heaven's voice and your spirit's response are merging, aligning heaven and earth within you. It's no longer about surviving, it's about stepping into assignment. You whisper softly, almost trembling, I hear you. The atmosphere responds. Peace enters. Light expands. For the first time in a long while, you feel weightless, not because your problems vanished, but because your spirit remembered its source. Heaven's silence has become a song. You are the note that completes it. The angels begin to retreat slightly, still watching, still guarding, but satisfied, for the chosen one has heard and answered. This is the beginning of transformation. Your yes has opened the door for heaven's next instruction. Keep your heart still, for the next revelation will not come through words, but through movement. The light inside you is about to manifest outside you, and the voice of God, gentle yet commanding, concludes this moment with one final whisper. Now that you have heard, walk in what you've heard. The silence begins to tremble. You feel it. The stillness that once felt safe now vibrates with approaching revelation. Heaven does not leave you in pause forever. Once you have learned to listen, the voice of destiny begins to speak again. The air around you thickens. The unseen angels shift positions, and your spirit senses that something is about to be spoken into your life that changes everything. Chosen one. The first sound that breaks divine silence is not thunder, it is truth. The whisper of God pierces deeper than any storm. You hear it. Faint, yet undeniable. You were never abandoned. You were being prepared for this hour. The angel's presence amplifies those words, and your heart catches fire. The feeling is not emotional hype, it is divine confirmation. This is the moment where understanding meets awakening. Heaven begins to replay scenes from your lifetimes, when betrayal cut deep, when friends disappeared, when promises felt broken. But now, the Spirit reveals, none of it was wasted. Every rejection repositioned you. Every closed door redirected you toward destiny. And then, like a rushing river, the Word of God begins to echo inside you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Of those words ignite your identity. You remember who you are. You are not dimmed. You are hidden for unveiling. The world's rejection could not bury your brightness. It only preserved it for revelation. The angels nod as the truth settles deep within you. The Spirit whispers again, "It is time for the light to rise." You feel your atmosphere change once more. The room feels smaller, but your soul feels larger. Every shadow seems to retreat, not because darkness grew weaker, but because your awareness of the light grew stronger. The power of this revelation begins to overflow. You can sense purpose pushing against the walls of hesitation. And now, heaven prompts you to act. This moment demands agreement. Not a shout, not an elaborate prayer, just a declaration of response. Heaven asks for your yes, your acknowledgement that you have heard and received. Type these words below as a prophetic act. I hear you. Although, write it not as a comment for the world, but as a signature before heaven. When you write it, you are saying, I am no longer deaf to destiny. I acknowledge that heaven has spoken, and I respond. That simple statement, I hear you, creates a spiritual echo. It becomes your agreement with the divine message delivered to your soul. Chosen one. This is not superstition. It's alignment. Every time you confess obedience aloud, heaven moves resources into motion. Angels respond to agreement. You are declaring that you are no longer living by confusion, but by calling. You are no longer defined by what was lost, but by what is being restored. The angel's voice deepens. Your obedience unlocks the next instruction. You realize that the key to divine movement isn't information, it's response. You don't need to know every detail before you obey. Faith doesn't wait for clarity, it creates it. Each step you take, opens more light for the next one. You remember how fear once paralyzed you. Fear of missing it. Fear of failure. Fear of looking foolish. But now you see how fear was the language of bondage, while faith is the sound of freedom. When you say, "I hear you," you are silencing fear's argument and amplifying heaven's decree. The angels begin to glow brighter, their wings spreading like golden fire. You can feel their energy pulsing, not around you, but through you. Heaven's voice and your spirit's response are merging, aligning heaven and earth within you. It's no longer about surviving, it's about stepping into assignment. You whisper softly, almost trembling, "I hear you." The atmosphere responds. Peace enters. Light expands. For the first time in a long while, you feel weightless, not because your problems vanished, but because your spirit remembered its source. Heaven's silence has become a song. You are the note that completes it. The angels begin to retreat slightly, still watching, still guarding, but satisfied, for the chosen one has heard and answered. This is the beginning of transformation. Your yes has opened the door for heaven's next instruction. Keep your heart still, for the next revelation will not come through words but through movement. The light inside you is about to manifest outside you, and the voice of God, gentle yet commanding, concludes this moment with one final whisper. Now that you have heard, walk in what you've heard. The moment after obedience always carries a strange quiet, an echo that feels both peace and promise. You have spoken. I hear you, and heaven has recorded it. Now the air feels heavier, charged not with waiting, but with readiness. The angels remain near, though their posture has changed. They are no longer standing guard, they are observing your transformation. Chosen one, you do not yet see the magnitude of what just happened. Agreement in the spirit realm sends tremors through eternity. When you said yes, unseen gates began to open, ancient pathways illuminated, and dormant purposes stirred awake. The angels who once stood still now exchange glances as though a sealed instruction has just been released. You have shifted from observation to activation. You begin to feel something inside you, expanding like divine breath, filling your lungs. It's not emotion, it's empowerment. The weight of divine silence has lifted, replaced by the wind of divine sending. For the first time, your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's. You are beginning to perceive that you are not merely rescued, you are being recommissioned. One angel steps closer, its eyes bright as molten light. The voice that emerges is soft, but carries the weight of worlds. Now you must understand why you were chosen. You are not rescued only for survival, you are rescued for responsibility. Heaven does not pour oil without purpose. Every scar you carry is an assignment in disguise. Every season of pain becomes a tool in the hands of redemption. The Spirit begins to reveal a scene before your inner eye, a tapestry woven from moments you had long forgotten. Threads of grief, joy, silence, laughter, all interlaced into a single story. You realize that what once seemed disconnected now forms a perfect pattern. You had been living the chapters of preparation without seeing the full manuscript, but God has been authoring the story all along. Then the light shifts again, as if heaven itself inhales. You hear the voice, not thunderous, but vast enough to fill the universe within you. You have been called out of hiding. Those words echo through every cell of your being. You feel layers of fear peel away, replaced by an indescribable calm. For the first time, you are not running from your calling, you are walking toward it. And as you stand there, trembling yet strengthened, the word of God rises once more like a flame inside you, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. Oh, the words flow through you like living fire. You understand that what God began in you is unstoppable. Delay is not denial, it is alignment. What seemed forgotten was merely being perfected for its appointed time. You feel heaven's confidence in those words. The angels smile not with pride, but with satisfaction, because you finally see time as heaven sees it. Chosen one. This realization changes everything. You no longer measure life by what you see, but by what you've been promised. You stop chasing results and start resting in revelation. Every unanswered prayer becomes proof that timing, not tragedy, shaped your story. You begin to understand that God does not rush maturity, He refines it. He waits until your obedience is strong enough to hold what blessing will bring. The angels begin to circle slowly, not in chaos, but in formation. You realize this is not ritual, it is rhythm. They move according to divine patterns, a physical reflection of heaven's order. The one who first spoke now extends its hand toward you, and a faint radiance touches your chest. It doesn't burn, it anchors. Suddenly, your fears about time being too late, too far gone, too unworthy fade into the background. In their place comes a still certainty. Nothing you have lost is beyond restoration. What was delayed is not denied. The promise written over your life is older than your failures. Before you ever fell, grace had already planned your rising. You sense a shift deep inside, a peace that feels like purpose, wearing form. The angels step back, their mission for this moment complete. You now carry in your spirit the understanding that divine timing is not against you, it is preparing you. You will no longer panic when the world moves faster than you. You will trust the slowness of heaven, for heaven is never late. The light in the room softens. The echo of their wings fades. But the awareness of God remains heavy around you. Silence returns. But it's no longer lonely. It's filled with meaning, with maturity. You have crossed a threshold, the moment when waiting turns into wisdom. You no longer ask when, because your spirit already knows soon. The angels stand at attention, their wings creating a quiet wind that hums like the pulse of time itself. You can sense it, the rhythm of heaven, the sound of something sacred, aligning. It feels as though eternity has drawn a circle around you. And within that circle, a countdown has begun. This is not fear, it is focus. The air tastes like purpose. You can almost hear the ticking of the prophetic clock echoing across the unseen realm. Chosen one. The atmosphere has shifted again. You have moved from waiting to watching, from revelation to readiness. You are standing at the intersection of divine timing and human obedience. Heaven's clock does not measure seconds, it measures surrender. Every heartbeat, every breath, every whispered yes adds weight to what is being prepared for release in your life. The first angel turns its gaze toward you, its voice resonating like light through water. Time has never been your enemy. Distraction has. You feel those words cut through the fog that once blurred your perspective. You understand now that the delay you feared was never punishment, it was preservation. God was not holding you back. He was holding you together. You were being strengthened in the secret place so that the weight of your calling would not crush you. As the revelation unfolds, the light inside the angels intensifies, and a low hum fills the space. The first angel lifts its hand, and time itself seems to pause. Then the voice of heaven breaks through like thunder, laced with gentleness. The ancient words recorded in Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1 declare, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." 1. The words reverberate through your being, wrapping around your mind like a mantle. They are not poetic, they are prophetic. You finally grasp that your life is not behind schedule. Heaven's seasons are precise, measured not by clocks, but by calling. Every promise of God has an appointed hour, and that hour is now drawing near. Your heart begins to steady. The anxiety that once gnawed at your peace loses its power. You realize that the prophetic clock isn't counting down to destruction, it's counting up to fulfillment. What once terrified you now excites you, because you sense heaven's alignment accelerating. You are not late. You are right on time, chosen one. This awareness demands response. When revelation arrives, heaven always invites agreement. This is not superstition, it is activation. You are standing before the divine countdown, and heaven is asking for your recognition of the moment. Right now, type the number 444 inches. The comments, do it not as a ritual, but as a declaration. The number 444 represents divine order, angelic assistance, and completion of preparation. When you write it, you are saying, I am aligned with heaven's timing. I will not rush what God is still perfecting. You are sealing your awareness of divine order into action. It's not about numbers, it's about faith given form. You are responding to heaven's call to trust. Even when time feels tight, the angel's glow brightens at your obedience. The hum of eternity grows louder, like heaven itself, exhaling through your moment. You realize this is not countdown to panic, it's countdown to promise. Every second is saturated with purpose. Heaven isn't asking you to wait passively, it's commanding you to walk attentively. The first angel speaks again. Do not look at the clock with fear, look at it with faith. Time serves the obedient. Those words sink deep into your soul. You remember how you once treated time as your tormentor. Always running, always late. But now, peace settles in. Time is not your enemy, it's your escort toward fulfillment. Chosen one. Listen carefully. The delay you have endured has positioned you perfectly for the unveiling. The people you lost were never meant to walk into this hour. The opportunities that closed were never built for your current identity. God is protecting your promise by pruning your path. Everything makes sense now, not in logic, but in spirit. The prophetic clock continues to glow brighter. The angels begin to step back slowly. Their mission for this phase, nearing completion, you stand taller, aware that you are no longer waiting for your moment, you are the moment. The countdown isn't to the end of something, but the beginning of everything you were created to be. Your heart beats with divine rhythm now. Every pulse whispers, on time, on purpose, on track. Heaven's clock has never lost a second. And as the glow around you fades into still peace, you realize that the angel's message was simple but sacred. Trust the timing. Heaven never rushes what it intends to last forever. The first angel now stands at your right side, radiant as morning light breaking through the last shadow of night. The air around it feels charged but comforting, a paradox of gentleness wrapped in glory. You sense authority in its stillness. This is not the presence of a mere messenger. This is the presence of mercy itself. The angel's very existence feels like forgiveness, given form. Chosen one. This is the first of the two angels heaven has sent on your behalf. It has not come to punish, but to purify. Its assignment is clear: to cut away everything that has attached itself to your life, but was never meant to remain. You can feel the fire of separation beginning even now. Though no words have been spoken, it is as if the air itself is being refined. The angel speaks not in thunder, but in tones so soft it silences every other sound. You have been forgiven long before you repented. The sword of mercy has been waiting for your awareness, not your perfection. The words pierce deeper than pain ever did. You realize that forgiveness is not an event but an atmosphere. It has been surrounding you, waiting for acceptance. You recall moments of regret, the mistakes you hid, the guilt you carried like chains across years. You feel the shame begin to melt away under this radiance. The angel moves its hand across the air, and invisible cords snap connections to memories that once haunted you. You are being disentangled from your own past. Heaven is not erasing what happened. It is removing its authority to define you. Tears come, not of sorrow, but of release. You feel a heat move through your chest, a cleansing that words cannot describe. The sword of mercy cuts away, not people but patterns. The fear of failure, the addiction to approval, the silent comparisons, all of it burns into nothingness. You finally understand. Mercy is not softness. Mercy is the fiercest weapon heaven wields. You stand trembling, yet whole. The angel watches, and for the first time you see a faint smile. Now you are free to remember without pain. It says, memory without torment is healing. You realize that true deliverance is not forgetting, it's remembering through a healed mind. Then the word of God rises in your spirit, echoing the message before you. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. All those ancient words feel newly alive, pulsing with divine reassurance. The angel's mission aligns perfectly with that truth. You are no longer a prisoner of your failures. You are a carrier of courage. The same God who forgave you has also gone ahead of you. He has turned what was meant to shame you into strength. You begin to feel grounded again, as if the floor beneath you has become holy. The presence of the angel radiates both command and comfort. You understand that mercy is not weakness, it is strength that chooses not to destroy. You look at your hands empty, trembling, but they feel lighter. What you once clung to has been released. The angel steps back slightly, its mission still unfolding, but not yet complete. Its sword burns steadily, waiting for your next act of obedience. You realize that heaven's mercy is ongoing. It is a process, not a moment. Every time you release bitterness, every time you choose humility, that sword continues its work within your spirit. Chosen one. You are standing in a new freedom now. The chains of guilt have no legal claim over you. The accuser's voice has been silenced by the sound of mercy. The angel's presence ensures that every step you take forward is guarded from the residue of shame. You are walking into a future where the past cannot follow. And as you breathe in deeply, the air feels different, cleaner, lighter, holy. The first angel lowers its sword, not because its power is finished, but because its work in this moment is complete. The words echo softly in your soul. Mercy always precedes mission. You cannot go where guilt still holds you. You know this is true. Forgiven, restored, and redefined. You stand ready for what comes next. The light of the angel fades slightly, but its warmth remains within you. You are no longer running from who you were. You are standing in who you are becoming. The light around you shifts again, deepening from golden warmth to a silver hue that feels both ancient and alive. The air still hums from the first angel's work. Yet another vibration now joins it, softer, steadier, resonant, like a heartbeat that does not belong to earth. From the left side, a new brilliance begins to move forward. The second angel has arrived. This one does not carry a sword. Its hands are open, and within them rests a scroll that glows, as if written with threads of light. You immediately sense something different about this being. Its energy is memory. Its presence is remembrance. The first angel came to cleanse. The second comes to confirm. Together, they form a rhythm of redemption and revelation. The second angel's eyes hold an unfathomable gentleness. Yet behind that softness, there is authority. So vast it humbles you without command. You feel your pulse slow as it approaches, the sound of its wings blending with your own heartbeat. When it finally speaks, the voice feels like echo upon echo, every word layered with time. The king remembers, chosen one. Those words strike deep. They unravel years of feeling overlooked. They silence every lie that told you your prayers vanished into the air. The angel unrolls the scroll slowly, and as it opens, you see your own story written there, not in ink, but in light. Every tear you ever shed, every act of kindness unseen, every secret obedience all recorded. Line by line, your knees weaken. You realize you were never forgotten. You were being documented. Heaven never discards faith, it archives it. Every prayer that felt unanswered was stored, waiting for appointed manifestation. Nothing you did in purity was wasted. The angel gestures to the glowing text and says, every moment you chose love when it cost you pain. Every time you forgave when it broke, you heaven remembered. You feel your soul expanding under the weight of that truth. The light from the scroll pours into you like water filling an empty vessel. Regret begins to evaporate. You begin to see that even your quiet seasons were not meaningless. They were the ink heaven used to write your legacy. Then the angel raises the scroll slightly higher, and scripture emerges from its light, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 16, then those who feared the Lord spoke with one another, and the Lord paid attention and heard them. And a book of remembrance was written before him for those who feared the Lord and esteemed his name. And those words thunder softly through the chamber of your heart. The book of remembrance, you realize this is what you are seeing. This is your record, not of perfection, but of persistence. The tears you thought were invisible became ink in that heavenly archive. Every hidden act of integrity, every unseen kindness, they were not forgotten, they were gathered. A warmth spreads through your chest, one that feels like recognition. You understand now why some doors never opened. They were waiting for heaven's remembrance to activate favor in fullness. Some blessings require maturity to handle their weight. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was perfecting your capacity to carry what is coming. The angel lowers the scroll, and the glow softens. Though its light continues to pulse faintly like a heartbeat beside you, you can still see faint traces of your story. But the details blur into brilliance. The message is complete. You are known, remembered, written into eternity, chosen one. This understanding steadies you. No more striving to be seen. No more begging for validation. You are documented in divine memory. The moment you acted from faith, you entered into record. And now, that record is being reopened, not for judgment, but for release. The angel's expression changes, serene, yet purposeful. You must understand. It says, that remembrance is not nostalgia. It is activation. What heaven remembers, heaven restores. Those words settle into your bones like prophecy. Every deferred promise, every dream placed on hold, they are awakening again under the heat of remembrance. The light fades slowly, but the peace remains. The angel rolls, the scroll closed, places its hand over your heart, and whispers, "You have not been forgotten." The book remains open until fulfillment. Then it steps back, its glow merging with the horizon of unseen light. Silence follows, but it is rich with meaning. The presence of the two angels lingers around you, mercy and memory, forgiveness and fulfillment. One cut away what chained you, the other revealed what remains. And standing between them, you understand the balance of heaven's love. God does not just cleanse your past, He remembers your obedience and redeems your story. The light of the two angels begins to dim, but their presence remains. What fills the space now is not brightness, it is awareness. The air hums with an invisible warning, gentle yet urgent. You feel it before you hear it, a stirring in your chest, a tightening in your spirit. The atmosphere shifts because heaven is about to reveal what you were never meant to see, but must understand. Chosen one. The scroll of remembrance is still warm with glory when a darker current begins to move beneath it. For every record written in heaven, there is a counterfeit record whispered in hell. The enemy has been tracking your hesitation, waiting for a moment to exploit it. What was sent to bless you, he attempts to twist into bondage. You are not imagining the opposition. It is real, because you are valuable. The second angel turns, its gaze sharp as lightning. Do not fear what is revealed. It says, exposure precedes deliverance. You look, and for the first time, the veil between realms grows thin enough for you to glimpse what has been hidden. Shadows flicker, shaped like memories that refuse to die. Words once spoken against you drift like smoke, old accusations, false identities, doubts that have followed you for years. They are not random thoughts. They are assignments, voices of the enemy, designed to make you question what heaven has already confirmed. Every whisper of, "You're not enough." Every thought that says, "You missed your chance," is part of that ancient plan to distort your reflection. the word of God rises again, echoing through the chamber of your mind. As the apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and rulers of darkness, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The verse lands like a command. You finally understand the attacks were never about people. They were spiritual strategies designed to make you distrust heaven's timing, to make you fight the wrong battles. The enemy wanted you exhausted so you would quit before breakthrough. But this unveiling exposes the strategy, and once truth is seen, it cannot be unseen. You close your eyes, and you see every disappointment reframe itself. What once felt like chaos now looks like warfare. The betrayals that stung so deeply were battles for your focus. The confusion that clouded your mind was an arrow meant to blind your discernment. Every dark pattern you survived was proof of the light you carry. The angels move closer, surrounding you like walls of fire. The atmosphere vibrates with their authority. The lie is losing its breath. One whispers. You can feel it, the hold of fear, shame, and unworthiness beginning to dissolve. The enemy's last weapon is deception. And now, even that is being stripped of its disguise. Chosen one, this is your confrontation. Heaven will not fight your inner war for you. It will empower you to fight it with truth. Every time you choose belief over fear, you swing a sword. Every time you refuse to repeat the enemy's accusations, another chain falls. You are learning that deliverance is not escape, it is awakening. And now, heaven asks for your response, a simple declaration of alignment that shatters darkness. Type these words below. Light wins. Type it not for attention, but for authority. When you write, light wins, you are not describing the end of a battle, you are enforcing it. You are declaring that no scheme of darkness will have the final word in your story. You are agreeing with heaven's verdict, that your light is not fragile, it is fierce. The angels respond to your confession because words build worlds. With that declaration, you make space for victory to manifest. You feel the air shift again. The shadows shrink into smoke, their form collapsing under the weight of revelation. You hear them whisper faintly, "Before they vanish, we had no hold. Once truth arrived." The angels sheath their weapons. The battle has moved from external to internal victory. The silence that follows isn't empty, it's triumphant. You realize that freedom is not the absence of warfare, but the awareness of authority. Darkness will always test your confidence, but you now carry proof that truth always wins. The second angel speaks again. Softer now, the unveiling was necessary. You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. You nod, tears still on your cheeks. But your spirit feels stronger than it ever has. For the first time, the darkness that used to intimidate you now looks small. You have learned to see from heaven's perspective. The air grows still. Golden light returns, and peace fills the void where fear once reigned. The angels exchange a silent glance. Mission accomplished. You have seen the strategy, resisted the deception, and declared the verdict. The light within you stands unconquered. The storm inside you has quieted, but the echoes of revelation still vibrate in the air. The two angels stand beside you, guardians of mercy and remembrance, yet they are no longer the focus. What captures heaven's attention now is you, the chosen one who has stood through silence, faced truth, and declared victory. You are breathing differently now, slower, deeper, as though eternity itself has entered your lungs. Chosen one. This is the moment when heaven pauses to celebrate obedience. The battle has been fought. But what happens next is more important. The walk after the war. Many people rise in battle but fall in recovery. You, however, are being taught how to carry peace without dropping purpose. This is not the calm after chaos. It is the commissioning after clarity. The angels begin to move slowly around you, forming a gentle circle of light. Their wings no longer blaze. They shimmer, soft and steady. It feels like dawn after a long night. The first angel lowers its sword completely, its glow turning warm, almost golden. The second holds the scroll to its chest, as though guarding memory itself. Between them, you feel a new weight forming within you, responsibility. The Spirit reminds you of ancient words, gentle yet thunderous in meaning. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 25, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Those words strike a chord within you. The principle is divine reciprocity. Heaven multiplies what you release. When you pour encouragement into others, your own well deepens. When you share the light, it does not diminish, it doubles. The angels nod in agreement. For this is one of heaven's oldest laws. What you give in faith returns in fullness. Your mind begins to picture it, the ripple of obedience spreading outward. One spark becomes a flame. One testimony becomes a wildfire. The voice of the redeemed carries frequencies that awaken sleeping hearts. You realize that your willingness to speak is not vanity, it is victory multiplied. And so, with humility, heaven whispers this request: share the light. Share what has touched you. Let your words, your reactions, your story travel like seeds carried on the wind. Each share is a spark. Each like is a lifted lantern in the dark. The digital world you hold in your hands is not a distraction. It is a mission field. Every gesture of faith becomes an echo that heaven can use. Do not see it as promotion. See it as participation. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not just engaging with a message, you are helping build a bridge for someone standing where you once stood. You are extending the rescue line you were just pulled from. Each small action carries prophetic weight. Imagine it, a single flame passed from heart to heart, until darkness retreats from entire spaces. That is what happens when the chosen ones unite, not in noise, but in light. The angels call it the ripple of remembrance, a flow of truth that refuses to stay silent once it's been seen. You smile faintly, understanding at last that testimony is not about exposure, it is about expansion. When light is hidden, shadows grow bold, but when light is shared, hope finds direction. The words you release may be the very key someone else has been praying for. The angels stand still again, and the first one speaks softly. Your obedience today becomes someone's revelation tomorrow. The second adds, do not underestimate the power of small faithfulness. It becomes great fruitfulness. The scene fades, but their message remains etched within you. You feel a tug, not to boast, but to build, to join the chorus of the redeemed, echoing across unseen networks of souls. You know that pressing that one simple button, sharing light, is no longer trivial. It's a testimony in motion. You lift your gaze, and heaven's light reflects in your eyes. You whisper, "Let my voice carry your truth." And in that whisper, angels hear agreement. Chosen one, this is your call, not to perform, but to participate, not to compete, but to contribute. The rescue you received must now ripple outward. Lift your light, spread your story, and let others find their way through the path. You once walked blind. Somewhere, someone will stumble across your act of obedience, and they will stop, as you did once, feeling heaven interrupt their scrolling, whispering, "This message is for you." When the echoes of heaven's whisper fade, what remains is peace, the kind that does not depend on answers, but on awareness. The two angels now stand still, their light softer, their posture almost restful. You can sense that something within you has settled into alignment. The chaos that once dictated your emotions no longer holds the same authority. You are not who you were when this encounter began. You have crossed a threshold invisible to the eye, yet undeniable to the spirit. Chosen one. This stage of your journey is quieter but deeper. It is not about rescue anymore. It is about realization. You are beginning to understand the weight of divine partnership. God has not only intervened for you, He now desires to operate through you. You have become a vessel refined by resistance, a voice shaped by silence. The angels' wings fold, and their glow dims just enough for you to see beyond them. Around you, the scenery shifts. The atmosphere stretches into a vast expanse, something like a field of light woven into the horizon. It feels alive, pulsing gently, like a living heartbeat of creation. You realize this is not a physical place, but a reflection of your own soul, renewed, washed, waiting to bear fruit. The first angel steps forward and gestures toward the expanse. What you see, it says, is the garden of your calling. You look again, and within the luminous field, seeds glimmer faintly beneath the surface. The angel continues. Each seed was planted in seasons you misunderstood. Every pain, every delay, every act of faith you thought was forgotten, it was a planting. Heaven remembers every sowing. The words awaken memory. You recall moments when you gave love without return, prayed without results, forgave without apology. Those were not wasted gestures, they were deposits in eternal soil. The harvest is not always immediate, because some fruit must mature under hidden light. You feel your heart swell with gratitude as you realize that heaven has been cultivating your field all along. The Spirit moves gently within you, reminding you of a truth written long ago. As the Apostle wrote in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 58, "Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain." End of 4. The verse wraps around you like a mantle. You feel its assurance. Your labor is not in vain. It becomes a steady rhythm in your heart, echoing the truth that heaven wastes nothing. You have not toiled in emptiness. You have participated in eternity's design. The angels nod, for they live by that law. You gaze across the field again and notice that some areas are brighter than others. The dim places are not barren. They are simply waiting for water. You understand, those are parts of your calling yet to be activated. Promises still in process. The light will reach them in time. The first angel's voice softens. You must continue tending what heaven has given, even when you see no immediate fruit. The greatest test of faith is faithfulness without evidence. You nod slowly. The truth stirs conviction inside you. You realize how often you judged progress by visibility, forgetting that most of heaven's work happens underground. Chosen one. This is your growth, learning to rest in divine pacing. You do not need to force the bloom, you need only nurture the soil. Your responsibility is consistency, not control. Heaven's responsibility is fulfillment. The angels begin to fade slightly, their forms blending into the brightness of the field, yet their words linger, carried by the wind that hums like distant worship. Stay steady. What you plant in faith will return in fullness. Time is not your judge, it is your witness. You inhale deeply, letting the air fill your lungs like new life, entering old spaces. You realize that what you feel now is not excitement, but sacred contentment, the awareness that purpose has already begun to unfold. You are not waiting for destiny, you are walking in it. Around you, the luminous field sways as though heaven itself applauds quietly. The angels vanish into the horizon, leaving traces of light that fade into dawn. The silence that follows feels alive, like the pause between breaths before a new word is spoken. You close your eyes and whisper to yourself, "I will keep tending the unseen." The words become a covenant between you and heaven. No matter how long the process, no matter how deep the soil, you will continue sowing faith. For you now know, the harvest of eternity is guaranteed. The horizon glows faintly, as though dawn is being born from the soil of revelation. The garden of your calling still shimmers before you. Yet something shifts in the spiritual air, a vibration that feels urgent, sacred, rhythmic. Heaven is moving again. The angels have not disappeared completely. Their essence lingers like fragrance in the atmosphere. You know instinctively that a new instruction is approaching, one that requires not waiting, but witnessing. Chosen one. This is the moment heaven begins to measure your readiness, not by desire, but by discipline. The season of revelation is maturing into the season of response. The prophetic clock ticks softly again, not in fear, but in divine invitation. The Spirit whispers, "It is time to number the moments that remain," to recognize the weight of what heaven is about to release. From within the garden, light begins to coil upward, like mist forming into shape. The brightness weaves itself into patterns, symbols, numbers, spirals of divine geometry. Each symbol pulses like a heartbeat, and you sense that these numbers are not calculations, but codes, prophetic markers, written by God Himself before time began. You hear the faint voice of the first angel, now echoing through the field. Numbers are heaven's rhythm. They mark movement. They reveal alignment. Then the second angel joins, its voice blending like harmony. Every divine moment has a number written upon it, a signature of timing. The Word of God rises like a steady flame to anchor your understanding. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. Those ancient words resound within you as both comfort and command. Stand firm, yet prepare for movement. This is how heaven operates: stillness within obedience, peace within progression. The number 555 vibrates again, as if echoing the verse, stand, see, step. 3 divine actions sealed within grace. Chosen one. This number is not random, it is invitation. It represents the triple wave of divine transition, the end of fear, the rise of faith, and the start of fulfillment. Heaven is asking for recognition, not superstition. You are being asked to acknowledge the shift that has already begun around you. In this holy moment, type the number 555 below. Do it, not as ritual, but as remembrance. When you write it, you are saying, I recognize the change. I embrace the transition. I stand firm in faith. It carries meaning first for surrender. Second, for surrender renewed. Third, for surrender complete. Together, they form a declaration of trust. Your simple act of faith becomes a spark that heaven can amplify. Angels move through acknowledgement. Heaven breathes through response. When you type 555, you are not summoning fate. You are aligning with grace. You are saying, I'm ready for the next chapter to begin. The light around the number expands, and you see flashes of images, doors unlocking, waters parting, chains melting like wax. Every obstacle that once looked immovable begins to tremble. The Spirit of God speaks within. Change is not coming, it has already begun. The rest of the world will catch up to what your obedience has already activated. The air feels charged again, the way it did when the angels first arrived. But this time, it's different. You no longer feel small beneath heaven's weight. You feel included in it. The rhythm of the divine now beats within you. The number still floats before your eyes. But it's not just glowing, it's reflecting. You see your own face shimmering within the light, as if heaven is saying, you are part of this code. And for a moment, time seems to bow. Everything slows. Everything breathes. The angels' voices fade into the background, replaced by one clear sentence from the Spirit. This is your hour of shift. You understand then that this moment is about more than blessing. It is about becoming. The number 555 is not a prophecy you wait for. It is an identity you step into. Grace upon grace upon grace. Triple confirmation that you are not only chosen, you are now commissioned. The light begins to dissolve gently, folding back into the horizon like a promise sealed until fulfillment. The air is calm again, but your spirit hums with momentum. The garden of your calling glows brighter. The seeds you saw before are stirring beneath the soil, ready to rise. Chosen one. The numbers may fade, but the movement remains. Every breath you take from this moment forward carries divine rhythm. Every step aligns with grace multiplied. You have entered the corridor of transformation, where heaven's sequence meets human surrender. Stand still. Stay aware. Step forward. The change you prayed for is already walking beside you. The light that carried the number 555 fades into the horizon, leaving behind a trail of quiet awe. The air feels alive again, charged but still, as if the earth itself recognizes the shift that has taken place within you. You stand in the garden of your calling, surrounded by soft radiance, watching as the unseen world breathes with rhythm. The ground beneath your feet hums faintly, each vibration, a pulse of divine purpose echoing through creation. Chosen one. You have crossed from revelation into reformation. What heaven once whispered is now being written into your walk. The Spirit no longer speaks merely to awaken you. but to align you with the reality you have inherited. You are no longer a bystander in the story. Heaven has made you a participant. The silence you once feared has transformed into partnership. The angels remain near, though they have changed again. Their brilliance is softer, their movements deliberate. They no longer act as rescuers, they now move as witnesses. You sense that what happens next will not be done for you, but through you. Divine responsibility has replaced fragility. A gentle wind stirs the luminous field around you, and you hear the faintest sound like pages turning in a book far above. The second angel lifts its gaze. Heaven has begun to record again. It says softly, "Every step from this point becomes testimony." You look upward, and though you cannot see the book itself, you can feel its weight. It is as if time itself is being inscribed with your obedience. You realize that the scroll of remembrance shown to you earlier was not the end of recording, it was the beginning of rewriting. Heaven does not merely remember your past, it chronicles your transformation. Then, without warning, the light before you ripples. The ground begins to shift, and from the soil of your calling rises something new, structures of light, forming like living architecture. Walls of radiant energy take shape around the field, foundations of purpose built from unseen obedience. It is not a physical building, but a representation of what you have become. You realize with awe that this is your temple, not made by human hands, but by the cooperation between heaven's will and your surrender. Every lesson you've learned, every battle you've fought, every prayer whispered in faith, they are the bricks. Mercy and remembrance have become the mortar. What was once broken has become structure. The angels step back, allowing you to see the full form of what stands before you. The temple glows faintly, breathing light. Inside, you sense stillness, a sanctuary for others who will one day walk this same path. Heaven has not only healed you, it has turned you into a refuge for others. You are no longer only the rescued, you have become a resting place for the weary. The Spirit whispers again, close and calm. You are being built as a dwelling for divine presence. The words come alive inside you, and a verse rises from your spirit as confirmation. As the Apostle wrote in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 22, "And in him you too are being built together to become a dwelling in which God lives by his Spirit." The verse wraps around the vision like a seal. You understand now that the work of the angels, the silence, the revelation, all led here to this indwelling. God does not visit you temporarily, he inhabits you permanently. Your heart has become sanctuary, your obedience, the altar, your life, the offering. The radiant temple before you flickers softly, and then, like mist meeting sunlight, it dissolves into you. You feel warmth spreading through your being, the light merging with your bones, your breath, your heartbeat. You are not standing before the dwelling, you are the dwelling. Heaven has chosen to live within what once was broken. Tears flow freely, not of sadness, but of reverent realization. The angels bow their heads not to you, but to the presence now dwelling within you. You are both vessel and witness, host and herald. The divine partnership is complete. The field around you glows one last time, the color shifting from gold to white. It feels like purity, completion, and commissioning all at once. The angels rise higher, their wings expanding, their light merging with the horizon. You watch, Understanding that they are not leaving, they are returning to the place where their mission began. Satisfied that heaven's design has been fulfilled, you remain standing, still trembling with awe. Every inhale feels like prayer, every exhale feels like purpose. You realize you are not waiting for heaven to come down anymore. Heaven is now living within. You have become the proof of its promise. The light has settled inside you now. What once shone around you has found a home within. The garden, the temple, the angels, all of it still exists. But now it exists through you. Your breathing has slowed into a rhythm that matches heaven's own heartbeat. Even the air seems to bend around your awareness. You no longer reach outward to feel the presence of God. You recognize it as the quiet pulse within your chest. Chosen one. You have entered the realm of communion, the space beyond miracles, where relationship replaces request. You are not begging heaven to move anymore. You are learning to move with it. This is maturity. The stage where revelation becomes rhythm and presence becomes posture. You have been rescued, refined, and rebuilt. Now, you are being revealed. The angels have not returned in visible form, yet you know they remain near. Their work is not finished. Though their appearance is no longer necessary, you are now the proof of their mission. Mercy and remembrance dwell inside you as two flames that never burn out. You have become the message you once received. The Spirit stirs softly within your soul. There are no thunderclaps, no visions, only a whisper deep enough to shake eternity. Now you must walk in what you have become. It is not an instruction of activity, but of authenticity. Heaven does not need your performance. It desires your presence. God is not looking for motion. He is looking for embodiment. You take a breath, and with it, a memory surfaces every night. You thought God was silent. Every hour when your prayers seemed unanswered, now you see that those were not forgotten moments. They were foundations. What once felt like abandonment was actually construction. The silence had been building this inner temple, preparing a place where God could dwell freely without interruption. You look around and notice that the garden is beginning to change. The luminous soil shimmers, and new growth begins to rise where you once saw only stillness. Trees of light sprout rapidly, their branches stretching high, bearing fruits that look like stars. You reach out, and the moment your hand brushes one of the glowing branches, you feel a memory return, not a painful one, but redeemed. Each fruit represents something once broken, now restored. One glows with the memory of lost friendship turned into forgiveness. Another shines with the recollection of failure transformed into wisdom. Every star fruit is a testimony of redemption made tangible. You realize that this garden has become the living map of your soul, your healed places blooming where your wounds once lived. The voice of the Spirit continues, gentle and sure, nothing wasted, nothing forgotten. Every loss has become seed. The words are not poetic, they are precise. You begin to grasp that heaven's economy never discards pain, it reassigns it. Even what the enemy meant for destruction has been transfigured into divine resource. The Spirit brings to remembrance the ancient words of Scripture, as was written in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And those words now carry meaning deeper than you have ever known. Abiding is no longer concept, it's existence. The vine is not beside you, It runs through you. The fruit you bear is not your own effort. It is heaven's life manifesting through obedience. The garden around you is simply a mirror of what now grows within your spirit. You sit beneath one of the radiant trees, feeling the steady hum of eternity coursing through every leaf. You no longer need to ask for signs. The signs are growing from your being. This peace feels permanent, not fragile. It cannot be broken by circumstance because it is rooted in communion, not condition. Time seems irrelevant here. You don't know how long you've been seated in this light. There is no before or after, only now. The Spirit rests upon you like soft oil, and the truth of all things becomes simple. Heaven's greatest miracle was not outside of you. It was the transformation within you. The wind that stirs the garden carries no words, yet you understand its meaning. Remain. You smile through quiet tears. For the first time, the idea of remaining does not feel like waiting, it feels like belonging. The light around you swells once more, bright but tender, as if heaven itself takes one long breath before the next movement. You know, without needing to see the angels return, that their work is nearing its conclusion. The final instruction is close. Yet for this moment, you rest in the center of divine stillness, abiding, breathing, becoming. The light that fills the garden begins to ripple, like gentle waves moving across a still lake at sunrise. You realize that something sacred is about to shift again. Not the kind of change that tears things apart, but the kind that expands what already exists. The voice of the Spirit does not thunder this time. It hums quietly through your heart, saying, "Now that you have received, it is time to release." End of Chosen One. Heaven never gives light just for it to be stored. It gives light to be shared. The revelation that transformed you was not meant to end with you. You are a carrier of restoration, a torch passed from eternity into time. What heaven poured into your spirit must now overflow into the lives of others. The stream that stops flowing becomes a pond, but the one that continues outward becomes a river. The angels return, not as towering beings of flame, but as streaks of wind, luminous and fluid, moving through the garden like breath. You sense their joy. They do not come with warnings now, but with celebration. The time of silence has birthed the sound of testimony. One whispers. You look around, and even the trees of light seem to lean closer, as if creation itself is listening for your next choice. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Imagine your words as seeds carried by wind. Some may fall on stone and vanish, but others will find good soil in hidden hearts. You will not always see the fruit, but heaven will. Every time you speak truth, every time you spread light, you are watering someone else's hope. This is where your voice matters. It doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be real. There's a kind of honesty that carries the fragrance of heaven, the kind that admits pain yet radiates peace. When you share that, you aren't performing, you're planting. Each word becomes a spark. Each spark a small sunrise in someone's darkness. And so, chosen one, if this message has breathed something into your spirit, don't keep it enclosed. Let the wind carry it forward. Like the roots of a tree intertwining underground, your unseen action might strengthen someone you'll never meet. You can be the echo that reaches another weary heart, the ripple that awakens faith where silence once lived. Like if you feel the light resonating within you, not for approval, but as a small torch lifted to say, I see it too. I'll share this message, not for attention, but for extension. Think of it as lighting a candle and passing it along the corridor of humanity, one flame meeting another until the whole path glows. Subscribe to the flow of these words if you want to stay near the sound of heaven's breath. You're not joining a channel, you're stepping into a circle of continual awakening. And when you've done so, pause for a moment and write below something simple, something honest. Let your words touch the air. Comment what the Spirit whispers in you now. Maybe it's one line, one phrase, or even a silent thank you, but let it exist. The digital realm is not as distant as it seems. It can become a garden of light if sown with intention. The angels watch, radiant and serene. They seem to rejoice not in grandeur but in connection. One of them leans close and says softly, every act of sharing is a form of worship when done in love. The second adds, what heaven gives you in revelation becomes complete only when released in compassion. You understand it's never been about numbers or attention. It's about participation in divine flow, like rain returning to the sky through rivers. What you give rises again as praise. Your simple actions echo eternity when done with sincerity. Chosen one, you are part of something vast. These words are not just a message, they are movement, a current of light traveling through countless souls, illuminating one heart at a time. You are no longer a spectator of faith, you are its continuation. The Spirit settles again, wrapping the moment in peace. The garden hums with approval. You sense heaven smiling not at perfection, but at willingness. You whisper a quiet, yes, and the air responds with warmth. You are doing what you were always meant to do. Reflect the divine light outward. As you breathe out slowly, the angels lift their gaze to the horizon. Their wings shimmer like glass touched by dawn. One final whisper drifts between them and you. Keep the light moving. Every spark counts. The garden quiets again. The luminous air softens into something almost human, gentle, breathable, ordinary, yet sacred. The moment of release has passed. And now, what remains is stillness. Not empty, but full. You sense heaven watching from a distance. Not as a test, but as admiration. It feels as though the divine has stepped back to admire what has been built within you. Chosen one, this is the hour of sealing the sacred moment after the fire, when everything that has been purified begins to solidify into permanence. What heaven establishes in your spirit now cannot be undone by time, doubt, or circumstance. The light that once visited has now taken root. You are being sealed, marked, claimed by the eternal will that called you before the foundation of the world. You feel it first as warmth, then as weight, a gentle heaviness that settles over your shoulders like a cloak. It is not oppressive, it is identity. You realize that the work of transformation is not complete until it is sealed. The angels return, not to speak, but to affirm. Their wings stretch outward, creating a dome of shimmering light around you. Within that radiance, you sense a holy finality, something finishing, something beginning. The Spirit's voice is near again, tender and unwavering. This is the moment of sealing. The mark is not seen with eyes, but it will be known by everything that touches your life. You will carry the fragrance of heaven wherever you walk. Then the scripture rises, carried by the Spirit like a whisper from eternity. As the apostle declared in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 22, he has set his seal of ownership on us and put his Spirit in our hearts as a guarantee of what is to come. The verse feels like a key turning in a lock. You are the door it opens. You feel your inner being expand, filled with the awareness that you are no longer striving to be accepted. You are already sealed as belonging. The uncertainty that haunted your past is replaced by conviction. You are marked by purpose, stamped with promise, and guarded by presence. The angels begin to move again, forming a circle around you. The air inside that circle vibrates like a song without words. The song is not sung, it exists, echoing through bone and soul, reminding every part of you that you have been chosen and confirmed. For a moment, you glimpse beyond the veil of your own understanding. You see time differently, as if every season, every sorrow, every prayer was part of this sealing. You see how even your failures have been folded into grace. The mark on your life is not erasure of imperfection, it is redemption of it. Heaven has used even your mistakes as ink in the masterpiece of your becoming. The angel's light grows softer, fading until only the warmth remains. The field around you glows like morning mist, and for the first time, you feel an unshakable confidence, not in yourself, but in the one who holds you. You are unafraid of what comes next, because the seal means security. You are held. The Spirit speaks again. One last time in this moment. Do not fear what lies ahead. The seal is not meant to protect you from challenge. It is meant to preserve you through it. You cannot be lost. You cannot be forgotten. You are marked as mine. Those final words rest within you, like living stone. You are not meant to chase the next revelation. You are meant to carry this one. The angels slowly ascend, their forms dissolving into the bright distance. The field of light around you remains, but its brilliance no longer overwhelms. You carry enough of it inside. Chosen one. The seal has been set. Heaven's mark glows where no eye can see, yet every shadow will recognize it. You are finished with fear, refined by fire, and filled with faith. The next step will not require striving, it will require walking in assurance. The garden is still, your heart steady. The story that began in desperation now hums with destiny. You have been sealed not just for survival, but for significance. The light that once hovered above you now burns quietly within, unquenchable and eternal. The sky above the garden begins to pale, the golden hues blending into soft ivory light. You sense that everything is drawing toward its conclusion, not an ending, but a sacred closure. The air feels different now, quieter, deeper, filled with the fragrance of completion. The journey that began with divine interruption has carried you through silence, revelation, warfare, remembrance, and sealing. Now, heaven stands still to witness fulfillment. Chosen one. This is the moment when heaven and earth agree about who you are. The angels no longer appear beside you. Their mission is complete, yet their essence lingers like distant music, woven into your breathing. You are not waiting for their wings, you are walking in their work. What was once external has become internal. What was once visitation has become habitation. You are the meeting place of realms, the Spirit moves gently within you again, not to instruct, but to affirm. You are ready. You realize that readiness in heaven's language does not mean you know everything, it means you trust completely. You do not have to understand the path to walk it. Faith has become your compass. Love your light. You look down and notice the garden shifting again. The luminous soil stirs, and from its heart rises a river of living light, flowing outward beyond what your eyes can see. It winds across the horizon, branching into streams that disappear into distant lands. You understand at once. This river is what your obedience has birthed. It carries life into places you will never step, touching souls you will never meet. The Spirit whispers softly. Every chosen one becomes a source. You realize you are no longer only the recipient of divine flow, you are now part of its continuation. Heaven has entrusted you with the rhythm of renewal. Everywhere you walk, something unseen will grow. Everywhere you speak, something hidden will awaken. You are a carrier of continuity, proof that what God begins, it sustains. You kneel beside the river, watching as the light ripples across its surface. Reflections shimmer faces you do not recognize. Generations yet to come. Destinies that will spring from your obedience. You feel tears rise again, not from sorrow, but from wonder. The rescue that began with 2 angels has multiplied into restoration that will outlive you. The Word of God rises within your heart once more, final and eternal in its tone, as was written in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Oh, those words resound through the entire garden, vibrating through every leaf, every wave of light, every breath in your lungs. You feel their truth seal the journey. What heaven starts, it finishes. What grace begins, glory completes. You have become both the vessel and the proof of that promise. The air begins to still again. The angels' voices fade entirely, but you can sense them smiling through eternity. You understand now that this story was never about your strength, it was about your surrender. Heaven's greatest miracles are not displayed in thunder or spectacle, but in the quiet transformation of a willing heart. Chosen one. The river keeps flowing, stretching far beyond the edge of sight. It carries your yes like a song through creation. You stand watching, not needing to follow, because you know it will reach its destinations without your striving. You were never meant to control its course, only to release it. The Spirit rests upon you one final time, a gentle weight upon your shoulders. It speaks in the language of peace, rest. For what was begun has been established. Walk. For what was spoken will sustain you. Shine. For what was hidden has now been revealed. The garden begins to fade, not into darkness, but into normality, the divine blending seamlessly with the human. You feel your awareness returning to the realm of time. Yet you are not leaving the presence, you are carrying it with you. The unseen has become your constant companion. Before you depart completely, you glance back once more. The garden still glows faintly in the distance. The river of light still flowing. You know it will never cease, because its source is eternal. Everything heaven has built in you will continue long after this moment ends. You take one last breath of the luminous air, and it feels like breathing eternity into mortal lungs. Peace floods you, steady and unshakable. The journey that began in interruption ends in inheritance. The angel's message has fulfilled its purpose. You are no longer waiting to be rescued. You are walking as the rescued one, the restored one, the radiant one. And as the light folds around you one last time, you hear the whisper of heaven echo like distant thunder turned into music. The work is complete. But the story continues. Chosen one. The journey has come full circle. The angels have ascended. The river flows on. And the light of heaven now lives quietly within you. You are no longer waiting for divine rescue. You have become the evidence of it. Every word spoken, every silence endured, every tear sown in faith has turned into living fire. The mark of heaven rests on you, and the story you carry will keep unfolding long after these words fade from sight. This is the closing breath of your encounter, but not the end of your awakening. The message does not stop here. It continues in every heart that receives it, in every life that chooses light over fear. You are part of that unfolding. When you share what touched you, when you lift this light into the digital world, you are not promoting a message, you are extending a miracle. So as this sacred moment settles in your spirit, let your gratitude become motion. Like this, if you feel the truth still echoing within you, not for approval, but as a small act of witness, share it. So the same light that found you may reach another soul searching for direction. Subscribe if your heart desires to keep walking in the rhythm of revelation. It is not a click, it is a continuation of communion. And finally, comment below what heaven stirred in your heart tonight. One sentence, one truth, one flame. Your words might be the bridge for someone standing on the edge of surrender. You have been chosen. You have been changed. And now, you are commissioned to keep the light moving,